And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax.
Wealth Management. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Restoring your home or business to its natural beauty is our only business. We are Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner for over 75 years.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve. My experience in the ER led me to establish Reset Restore MD, or R&R MD Ketamine Therapy Center. Sadly, right now, depression, anxiety, addiction, chronic pain, and PTSD are too common. Relief for people depressed, anxious, battling addiction, or living their life in pain is critically important. Traditional treatments can create potentially dangerous side effects, even suicidal feelings. While mental health issues can widely be misunderstood, they are real. People with treatment-resistant depression, anxiety, addiction, PTSD, or pain often have deficient levels of feel-good chemicals, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, locking them in an endless cycle of sadness, pain, and anxiety. No matter what they do, symptoms remain. Ketamine helps retrain the brain out of this cycle, stimulating normal release of feel-good chemicals. A ketamine infusion takes about an hour at R&R MD. The reset or restore of feel-good chemicals can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
Thinking about selling your home? Hi, this is Paul Levy with Lake Country Flat Fee. For 24 years, we've helped Southeast Wisconsin sellers get full-service real estate without paying a full 6% commission. You get expert guidance, MLS exposure, professional support, everything you need to sell successfully, and keep more of the equity after your sale. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Priester with your afternoon business report. The major averages were mixed today, with the NASDAQ lower and the S&P 500 mostly flat, weighed down by declines in some major tech stocks, while the Dow Jones moved higher, boosted by strong earnings and an advance in NVIDIA stock. And shares of Shopify jumped more than 17% following third quarter guidance. Shopify sees revenue growth in the low 30% range on a year-over-year basis, above the call of a 26.5% increase estimated FactSet. Minutes before the close, the Dow was up 376 points. The S&P 500 was up 1 point. The NASDAQ was down 152 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
Kick the tires, light the fires on another 3 hours of broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and let's all face it, probably more likely, broadcast competence. It starts right now. The Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk. And if you'd like to join us, 414-799-1130 on the Carpetland USA Flooring Center talk and text line. Email the program, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show, across social media, Facebook, X, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. Watch the show streaming live via the Dano Cam. And please be sure to download, subscribe to, like, follow, and listen to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. We are playing for at least a couple more days the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest, a chance at $1,000 every single hour of this show. And in fact, we had the 5 o'clock winner yesterday, following 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock winners on Monday. Let's make it 3 straight days of winners, and let's make that next winner you. The word this hour, bonus, BONUS, bonus. You have got until 3:55 to go to our website and enter the keyword bonus. If your entry is picked at random, you win a nice little bonus of $1,000. All right, big primary in Michigan was far narrower than expected. expected. Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Said. You are not allowed to say his full name. You have to call him Abdul El Said. You cannot call him Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Said. I don't make the rules, but this is apparently racist to use his full name. So Abdul El Said was expected to win by anywhere between 10 to 19 points in the U.S. Senate primary over Haley Stevens, who is a generic buffoon Dem. She was the one who, in a very wild-eyed and very viral speech, said, we're going to do it with a little bit of gumption, we're going to do it with a little bit of can-do attitude, and we're going to do it in a van down by the river. No, seriously, she looks and sounds exactly like Chris Farley doing a bit. R.I.P. to my homie. She did a lot better than everyone expected. Polls before this race was actually run showed El Said, who is not a member of the DSA, but is a radical leftist and is a terrorist sympathizer. Now, I know this is just as Islamophobic, apparently, as saying his full name, Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Said. I keep saying it because he actually told anybody who is using his full name to keep his name out your mouth, which I think makes him cool in his mind. I don't know. But Abdul Rahman was expected to beat Chris Farley by between 10 and 19 points. The race wasn't actually called, and Chris Farley didn't actually concede until this morning. There were roughly 15,000 votes that separated them out of more than 1.5 million that were cast. The margin of victory was about 1 point. Now, does this, people are wondering, mean that in next week's Democratic primary here in Wisconsin, that the wild-eyed DSA socialist Francesca Hong, who has been polling at about 20 points ahead of her nearest rival, David Crowley, or maybe it's Sarah Rodriguez, or possibly Mandela Barnes, whoever it is that is supposed to be the great white hope, or in this case, great black hope of defeating the Democrat socialist machine this week. Could this mean that Wisconsin will have a similarly close primary? Something tells me the two races aren't at all similar. We'll get into that in just a second. But first, what's coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show today? Madison's protest camp is gone. Kind of. It's attempted to be reopened multiple times. Would you believe that your tax dollars have been paying for most of the craziness in Madison over the past 2 weeks? This is a story that is shocking, but simultaneously not at all surprising. We'll dive into it in the 4 o'clock hour, as well as a look at a lawsuit filed against Wisconsin's new online sports gambling law. The law is and has always been a direct violation of Wisconsin's Constitution. Fortunately, an organization like the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty exists. They filed a suit today. We will dive into that. Then in the 5 o'clock hour, Franny Hong walks back her hatred of Thanksgiving. This apparently was a bridge too far for the Democratic Socialists, because this is the thing that actually sort of took hold. Why can't she just say, no, I don't actually want to abolish Thanksgiving? Why is she so unable to say that? Because she actually believes that Thanksgiving is a genocidal, horrible, hateful holiday. Today, though, in the Politico Playbook podcast, she appeared with the host and said, you know what? My favorite holiday is actually Thanksgiving.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Okay, I'm sorry. When my kids were like 3 years old and you would ask them, what's your favorite holiday? They would answer more quickly than that. They would say, my favorite holiday is Christmas. If you ask a kid right now, do an experiment. If you're taking your kid to like football practice or something like that, if you're taking your kid to the doctor, if you're in the car with your kid, ask your kid, I'm saying like 4 years old and under, and see if they give you a sentence quicker than Francesca Hong can say, I actually think my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Listen to this again.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Like what? How long does it take for the thoughts to form? It's like, did the little gerbil on the wheel in her head take a bunch of heroin? What is going on here?
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Because I
There
love
you have it.
Thanksgiving. Yep. I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it.
Yeah, I don't actually believe that she really likes Thanksgiving. This would be like if you were to ask me, Dan, what is your favorite philosophy or ideology? And I was trying to come up with some sort of lie where you would be convinced that I don't actually hate socialism, that I don't actually believe that socialism, communism, Marxism, whatever it is being gussied up as this particular decade, isn't the most poisonous, toxic, awful form of human thought that has ever been devised. I think I could actually come up with a lie quicker than I actually love socialism. I don't want to destroy socialism. I don't want to convince every human being that socialism is the philosophy of brain-dead morons like Francesca Hong. See, when you can't even lie effectively, you know there's something wrong. And lying is the thing that socialists like Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed and Francesca Hong absolutely have to do. In his victory speech this morning, Abdul Rahman was forced to say, you know what? Just like Francesca Hong actually loves Thanksgiving, I actually love the Jews. No, I don't want to destroy the Zionists. No, I'm not actually sympathetic to Islamic terrorists who want to wipe every Jewish person off of the earth. I actually love you Jews.
To my Jewish American sisters and brothers, one of the most indelible memories of this campaign will have been the opportunity to break bread with you at Seder, to worship with you at Shul, to be embraced by you. And listening to sisters and brothers who said, you know, I want to join this movement because AIPAC doesn't speak for me.
Oh, yes, there are so many Jewish voters. Are there any Jewish voters in Dearborn, Michigan? This is a serious question. Are there any Jewish people in Dearborn? This is the same guy who said, you know what, I'm not going to talk about the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei because there are so many of my backers in Dearborn who are devastated right now that he is buried under 20 feet of rubble thanks to an American airstrike. When you have to say, you know what, I actually do love the Jews, or actually I do love Thanksgiving, you are in deep, deep doo-doo. Should we do a poll? Which do you think is less likely to happen? Francesca Hong celebrating Thanksgiving, or Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed actually having a Seder with a Jewish family? Now, Francesca Hong can actually pretend. I'm not sure El Sayed has it in him to pretend to actually like Jewish people. But El Sayed's very narrow win does show that the Democratic establishment is not going to allow itself to be taken over by the socialists. And make no mistake, even though El Sayed is not a dues-paying member of the DSA, he is a DSA candidate. He is a socialist in the exact same mold as Bernie Sanders, as Elizabeth Warren, as Francesca Hong. But unlike the previous generation of socialists like Sanders and Warren, this generation, El Sayed and Hong, they have no interest in assimilating into the Democratic Party. This is a hostile takeover. Just as El Said's voter base in Dearborn has no interest in assimilating with broader American culture, the DSA has no interest in doing anything other than invading and taking over the Democratic Party. And this is why I like to say that the Democratic Party right now is caught between a rock and a hung place. It is looking increasingly apparent, like not only will Francesca Hong win the nomination, she is going to get trounced by Tom Tiffany. First of all, polls in July in a head-to-head matchup showed Tiffany beating Hong about 46% to 43%. Now, you might be saying, Dan, it's only a 3-point margin. It's within the margin of error. That doesn't tell you anything. It tells me everything, because Republicans have this weird trend in polling, because polling absolutely is not designed to establish narratives. It's not designed to push the left-wing narrative on anything. It is totally 100% on the up and up, he said with a great amount of sarcasm. Republicans always seem to miraculously come from 10 points down in the last couple of weeks of a race. It happened with Trump in 2024. He was trailing Kamala Harris in every summer poll. Now, part of this is the fact that Republicans just don't tend to answer the phone when pollsters call, and Democrats do. So you've got a little bit of a sampling bias here. But you also have actual bias of pollsters. And I'm not suggesting that Charles Franklin at Marquette is anything but an honest and a very good pollster, because he is. He is very, very good. But the Marquette poll has consistently showed that Republicans just do not poll well in the summer. If Tom Tiffany is up on Franny Hong by 3 points in July, he's almost certain to be up 10 points in November. And this is before roughly $50 million worth of ads and opposition research drops like a bomb right on Franny Hong's head. Just as the Democrats were praying for any other candidate besides Hong to make this race a referendum on Donald Trump and do nothing but tie Tom Tiffany to Trump for the next 3 months, Republicans have been praying that Hong or El Said or any other radical crazy in a swing state gets nominated, because this takes Trump right out of the equation. Think about it just since I've been back from our cruise and tour trip to Greece on Monday. How often have I talked about Trump? How often has anyone in the media in this state talked about Trump? It is all Francesca Hong. It is all DSA craziness. This election is and has been, since the moment it became apparent that Hong was going to be the nominee, a referendum on socialism. What this does is motivate every single voter to turn out and to vote to stop the crazies. Someone on X was saying, Dan, it is so stupid that Tiffany has not yet gone negative on Francesca Hong, but he's just sort of introducing himself as this kind of dorky guy from northern Wisconsin. That is by design. Remember, the race, as Tiffany is framing it, as pretty much reality is framing it, is as common sense versus crazy. Common sense, homespun wisdom coming from the damn man, the guy who wears plaid and flannel shirts from Kohl's, against the wild-eyed, crazy person who wants to cancel Thanksgiving, who believes that tipping is racist, and who wants to fundamentally transform this state by fundamentally tearing down all of the things that make this state, that make this country unique and great, because she and they hate it. This is an easy to understand thesis statement for any candidate. First, though, you have to establish yourself as the common sense candidate. That is what Tiffany has spent the last 3, 4, 5 months doing. This is why it was such a gift to him that he didn't have a primary opponent. I mean, he did, but once he got the Trump endorsement, Josh Schoeman, the very, very good county executive in Washington County, dropped out of the race, recognizing that he didn't have a chance of winning and that the Democratic primary has been such a mess. Because for the last 4 months, Tiffany has just been able to introduce himself to Wisconsinites. As soon as Hong has clinched this primary, and in fact, I'm starting to see Tiffany attack ads online now, talking more generally about how extreme Democrats have gotten. But this tells me that Tiffany is seeing polling that convinces him, his team, is now convinced that Hong is going to be the nominee. Will it be much closer than people think? Does the El Said race probably suggest that there's at least a chance that Hong doesn't run away with this race and the primary is not called within 10 to 15 minutes next Tuesday night? Sure. But remember, El Said won by 1 point against one candidate. This is why Democrats have been scrambling so hard to try to get Mandela Barnes and every other non-David Crowley candidate out of the race. Heck, they scrambled to get David Crowley out of the race when they thought Sarah Rodriguez was going to be the candidate to stop the Hong Express. They don't have that luxury of a one-on-one race. They don't have the socialist vote versus the non-socialist vote. They have the socialist vote, which is incredibly strong, coming from the most socialist, most insane place in the state that turns out huge numbers of voters every single election, Madison, versus Milwaukee, versus the handful of Dems that are in college towns like La Crosse and Eau Claire, Whitewater, all of the places that aren't going to be enough to stop the Hong Express. Will she win by 25 points? No, probably not. Did the last couple of days do a lot to convince normie Dems that, hey, she's probably too insane to win a general election? Yes. Is she still going to win the primary election? Absolutely she is. But what this says is that El Said, Hong, and every other DSA candidate, every other socialist, every other radical leftist running in a swing state or a swing district or a swing county is not going to get the unanimous Democrat support that a more normal candidate like, say, a Crowley, like, say, a Haley Stevens in Michigan would get. They are going to not only turn out huge numbers of people to vote against them, they're also not going to see the massive turnout on their own side that they might have otherwise expected. And this is why you are going to see from now until Election Day, the media doing its level best to try to convince you that Francesca Hong did not say the crazy stuff she did, or in the alternative, if they can't make you disregard the evidence of your own eyes and ears, they'll tell you, oh, well, you know, she's changed. She's totally evolved. She doesn't believe that crazy stuff anymore. And the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, well, they're already starting to do that. We'll get into that in just a second when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
Presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Starting Monday.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival is connecting all of us. Shows, meals, drinks, even a roller coaster ride. All-inclusive 2-night stay at Luxor or Excalibur starting at $330 for two. Visit MGMResorts.com.
Here's why. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com. I'm attorney Frank Crivello of the Warshawski Personal Injury Law Firm. Many personal injury firms operate as settlement clearinghouses. It's a low overhead, except for the cost of marketing, and profitable business model for a law firm. They advertise, take cases, and negotiate settlements. They get paid, their clients get paid, everyone is happy. Or are they? If you have a multi-million-dollar injury and settle for a few $100,000, your standard of living for the rest of your life will be terribly impacted. On the other side is Warshawski. From the moment we take your case, we prepare to win at trial. Warshawski is a collection of some of the most accomplished and award-winning personal injury attorneys in Wisconsin, with the most experienced investigators and legal professionals backing their every move. Making injured Wisconsinites whole isn't a game or an act. At Warshawski, it is our calling. We will hold the defendants accountable in your case by making them pay. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski.com, 414-276-4970.
Tracy, why are you wearing a cape?
I've created the League of Home Defenders, Jason, personally protecting my house from furnace failure.
Yeah, but you can't even fix a furnace.
No, but I can stand near it heroically.
Or join Merle's League for real. 2 tune-ups a year, priority service, no diagnostic fees. Capital does the defending.
Okay, I'll give up the cape. After all, in August, you're also giving $100 off a humidifier or air cleaner.
Good call, Tracy. Call Capital.
Call CapitalCares.com.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Why does Progressive help support truckers? Because truckers unite the world. Truckers unite whistles and lifeguards. Truckers unite fitness devices with people who don't exercise. Truckers unite your aunt with those live, laugh, love signs. But truckers can't do any of this if they're not on the road. That's why Progressive helps safe truckers save an average of $6,181 when they elect to share their ELD data with us. Get a quote at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. 2025 National Average Safe Driver Enrollment Discount Savings for new Progressive customers excludes mandatory program participants. Not available in all states. Driving data could increase or decrease premiums at renewal.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Classical conservatism and contemporary style. You get both here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Do you remember when on 9/11, President Trump was reading My Pet Goat to that school, a kindergarten class? I believe he was down in Florida. And an aide whispered in his ear, "Sir, a second plane has hit the Twin Towers." This has got to be how the Francesca Hong team feels. Ma'am, they've discovered a second Thanksgiving tweet you sent in 2020. Yes, the Tiffany War Room account on X has found a second Francesca Hong "I hate Thanksgiving" tweet. She posted in 2020, "Don't celebrate the colonizer holiday. Do wear a mask indoors and keep social distance." My goodness, this woman cannot get out of her own way. This after she declared that Thanksgiving is actually her favorite holiday. You guys don't get it. She did an interview with Politico and its Playbook podcast today, in which she did extreme damage control and said, "You know what? Thanksgiving is actually my favorite holiday." No, she really did say it that slowly. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is doing its level best to cover for Francesca and all of her insane old beliefs, which are still her current beliefs, but they've got to pretend that she has evolved, you see. She is not that crazy, wild-eyed socialist who thinks tipping is racist. No, seriously, she thinks tipping is racist. She is a moderate. She's just like you. She was in the service industry, and she still believes tipping is racist, but, not as racist as she used to. This is the Milwaukee Journal's article from who else? Chief propagandist Molly Beck. In the last days of the Democratic primary for governor, Francesca Hong is reversing her past support for defunding and eliminating police and walking back accusations of racism she has made against law enforcement officers. Hong will undoubtedly face headwinds over her comments about law enforcement. 78% of Wisconsin voters surveyed in a 2022 poll by the Marquette University Law School said they favored increasing state funding for police. Now, wait a second. At this point, if Molly Beck was not a propagandist, she would have included a paragraph on Francesca Hong saying, as governor, I can't actually defund the police. Turns out you can, and everybody knows you can, but nobody wants to say, hey, Francesca is lying, and if she's elected governor, she absolutely will decrease shared revenue for policing. She began walking back her past comments on police in recent weeks, writes Beck, most notably during a July 28th televised debate when she provided an emphatic no to a question about whether she would sign legislation that decreases funding to police. Now, to Beck's credit, and I have to give credit where credit is due, she does talk to a couple of police union chiefs who say, hey, she absolutely still hates the police. Yes, she absolutely will still try to abolish the police and prisons. And no, nobody actually believes her. But this is the sort of thing that you can expect from now until Election Day. In fact, yesterday, when Hong did an interview with the Pod Save America left-wing podcast, one of the hosts, Jon Favreau, no, not the movie actor and director Jon Favreau, the Obama bro Jon Favreau, actually laid out the strategy that he and other national media and national Dem consultants are going to do. We need to make sure you have good answers to these questions because we think you're a moron, and we think without your help, without our help, you're going to screw everything up. I actually couldn't believe that this was the first question that Favreau asked to Hong yesterday.
I think it is incredibly important for Wisconsin to have a Democratic governor. But since Republicans will spend an ungodly amount of money to try to defeat you, I just want to make sure you have the best possible answers to what's coming.
So in order to do that, I am going to ask you all of the questions that you are going to get. And we're going to do this, Francesca, until you give a satisfactory one. Trust me, producer Doug Russell is producing the show today. Can we get the Francesca Hong Actually I Love Thanksgiving soundbite up there, please? Suffice it to say that a day after the Pod Save America interview, this is not the satisfactory answer that Jon Favreau was looking for. This was not the best possible answer to the do you actually love Thanksgiving question. Oh, we have that? Do we have that soundbite handy? All right. Yeah, this is how she actually answered, what is your favorite holiday? A 2-year-old can answer. If you could send me an audio file of your 2-year-old child or grandchild, say, what's your favorite holiday? Christmas? They would answer it much quicker than this.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Oh, man, Molly Beck, Jon Favreau, you're going to have your work cut out for you over the next couple of months trying to spin for this one. President Trump is in Las Vegas talking about no tax on tips. Meanwhile, here in Wisconsin, we've got a crazy person who says tips are racist. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. Back in just a second.
My radio show was very popular, but the Jay Weber podcast is turning out to be some of my best and most insightful work. This is really good stuff. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Jay Weber podcast is presented by Creative Planning, a comprehensive wealth management approach for all elements of your financial life. Your team awaits. Find the Jay Weber podcast every Tuesday and Friday on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com. Hey, it's Dan, and the path towards feeling better isn't always a straight line. When life twists and turns, Sagent Behavioral Health is there to support you through every curve and bump along the way. They offer trusted therapy, psychiatry, and substance abuse treatment throughout the Milwaukee area. Their compassionate team meets you where you are and walks alongside you to create meaningful, lasting change. With in-person and telehealth appointment options and a wide network of accepted insurance plans, their care is designed to support and move with you. It's one of the largest outpatient mental health providers in the Midwest and provides therapy, psychiatry, substance abuse disorder treatment, and other mental health services. And their team includes licensed therapists, psychiatrists, alcohol and drug counselors, and care professionals working together to support whole person health. Sagent Behavioral Health. New name, same care. Learn more and find a clinic near you at sagentbh.com.
I'm Eric Krolowitz from Good Health Saunas. Check out Good Health Saunas' massive display at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, August 6th through August 16th. See every model be set up, feel them, touch them, try them out, and compare to find the ideal sauna for you and the entire family. Attendees will receive huge discounts on our show display floor models. Come early, they always sell out. GoodHealthSaunas.com or 365 days a year at 2242 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha next to Home Depot.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. Spring of 1917, just 14 years after the Wright brothers' first flight, America, determined to darken the skies over Europe with 12,000 combat aircraft, set about crafting 100 million board feet of Pacific Northwest Sitka spruce lumber.
Sonny Voss here. The rest is history. American ingenuity, determination, and might rescued humanity from tyranny. Dad harnessed American ingenuity, developing the remote control, truck-mounted articulated grapple saw Cut and Go uses to safely dominate landscapes.
Grind and Go is committed to your property being eyesore and trip hazard free. Cut and Go will take down dead trees for you to parse into firewood or chip for you to spread, or we can take with us.
Plants and Go designs historic treescapes, delivers and plants in time for you to celebrate your freedom this year.
Happy 250th anniversary. A Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
Are you ready to transform your home into the home you've always wanted? Hi. You want vinyl or LP SmartSide or Hardy plank siding? New siding can give you the look you want. With lots of options to choose from, we will be your guide as you pick out the perfect siding for your home. Horizontal lap siding, shake, board and batten, cedar accents, there's so much you can do to make your home truly amazing. With our home rendering tool, showrooms, and design consultant, no exterior contractor is going to help you like Tri-County Contracting. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com and see all the tools you can use to upgrade your home, like our exclusive color selector page. Just click the colors you want and we can make it a reality. Free estimates, free design consultations, open showrooms with friendly staff, and a website built to help you create the home you have always wanted. TriCountyContractingWI.com. Siding that will make you love your home again. Tri-County Contracting.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty. We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years. And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up in just a second, we think President Trump's scheduled to speak in Las Vegas. He is going to tout his no tax on tips initiative as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Meanwhile, we have here in Wisconsin, Francesca Hong saying that tipping and the service industry itself are racist. Here's what she said back in what other you can run an entire anti-Franny Hong campaign just on what she said from like June to about December of 2020.
In the service industry, we are finally having this conversation about, how our industry really did come from it and kind of is rooted in white supremacy, that tipping in itself. If we look at the history of tipping and how racist it is and how it has kept wages low for Black people for a very long time. And if you look at tipping now, how different the scales are in terms of who receives higher percentages of tips over other folks.
This is just completely and totally ignorant. Tipping does not have racist roots, like at all. Tipping, you've probably heard, TIP, T-I-P, stands for to ensure promptness. It absolutely does not. That is a misconception. Tipping actually goes back to the medieval custom of veiling, where aristocrats and lords and guests in people's homes would leave a small sum of money, a shilling or something like that, for a servant who went above and beyond their regular duties. Like, say, they starched the lord's top coat or something like that. By about the 1600s, the practice had sort of spread. You would go to inns, you would go to coffee houses. If somebody did a really, really good job, people who had extra money would share it. This is actually also tied into the custom of Boxing Day, where the aristocracy would actually, after Christmas, they would box up foods and gifts and things and give it to the servants as, yes, a sign of thanks, but also it was a way to sort of show how wealthy you were. And in fact, when this sort of came to the New World, when this came to the U.S. 1700s, 1800s, this practice, a lot of people didn't like it because it was a symbol of the old world. Do you want me to prove that this predates any sort of American racism? Do you know who Samuel Pepys is? He is probably the most famous diarist in the world, not named Anne Frank. Pepys, who lived in, I want to say, mid-1600s, I think he died in the early 1700s. He was a member of parliament, but he had the most obsessive, complete diary about his life. We have learned more about what life was like in the 1600s from Samuel Pepys's diary, like day-to-day life, than anything else. Here's an entry. January 2nd, 1660. In the morning, before I went forth, old East brought me a dozen of bottles of sack, and I gave him a shilling for his pains. Was there anything racist about Samuel Pepys's dealings with a guy named East, who he referred to as Old East, who brought him a dozen bottles of sack? No, probably not. As we wait for President Trump, let's go out to the phones. We talk with John in Libertyville. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show, John.
Hello, and greetings, Milwaukee, a city with a long established history of socialism and a famous long-serving socialist mayor, Daniel Hone, for whom the Hone Bridge is named. I wanted to ask you why you think so many voters are inclined to move in the direction of democratic socialism, and then based on your answer, I'd like to tell you why I think they are.
Well, let's go with why you think they are, because I could probably go for 45 minutes. In fact, I have got some long, extensive notes on this that may someday be turned into a book, John. What do you think?
Well, I think, obviously, it has to do with the economy.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
As quickly as possible, I think it's because inflation, gas prices, grocery prices, healthcare costs, housing costs, the debt, the deficit, all of those are higher than they were a year ago. And during that year, Donald Trump has used the power of his office to generate a huge amount of foreign investment in his family crypto business. He raked in over $2 billion in the last year. And then he does appearances like he did just the other day in Marietta, Georgia, where he again said, I never even heard the word affordability. I just thought it was something the Democrats made up. I think that in a situation where the president, who promised to make everything about American life more affordable, has failed to do so, and in fact, a year later, everything, by every measure, the cost of living has increased. For him to be out there after raking in $2 billion from his globalist crypto biz is still saying, I don't even know what affordability is. I think that the problem for Republicans right now is that most Americans have figured out that the Republican Party is primarily interested in putting the interests of the top 1% and maybe people who are still flying the Confederate flag first. But other than that, I mean, people will.
So you're
socialism.
Hold on. I just gotta. I'm going to let you cook, because you were cooking, John. You were doing great. I'm going to let you finish. But people who are still flying the Confederate flag, you know which political party actually did fly the Confederate flag when the Confederacy was a thing, right? It wasn't Republicans. You do know that the Republican Party, you're very well versed on the history of Milwaukee. I love that with Daniel Hone. I thought you were going to go with Henry Meyer, for whom Meyer Festival Park, where Summerfest is held, was named. The Republican Party was actually formed to stop slavery. It was an abolitionist party. The Democratic Party was the party of the Confederacy. So I'm not going to let that remark go unchallenged. But I think since we are running out of time, actually, very, very quickly, we're going to have to go to break and then go to the top of the hour. I want to answer your points. Inflation actually spiraled out of control, not because of anything Donald Trump did, but in the earliest days of the Biden administration, when Biden was warned repeatedly and very, very publicly, even by liberal economists, that his, hold on a sec, buddy, I let you talk for like a minute and a half, and I rarely do that uninterrupted. So I would hope you give me the same courtesy on my own show. Can you do that for me? I'll take that as a no, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to keep going. Biden was warned that his $1.9 trillion stimulus was going to be highly inflationary, and it was. In fact, within 1 month of stimulus checks going out, we went to the highest year-over-year inflation rate in 30 years. By that summer, it was the highest rate in 40 years. Gas prices by the summer of 2022 spiked to over $5 a gallon in all 50 states for the first time in American history, and only came down when Biden actually raided the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, not because there was any sort of emergency or any sort of global crisis. And no, we weren't as affected, in fact, hardly at all, compared to Europe and the rest of the world by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It was because of the political emergency of the upcoming 2022 midterms. You are correct in that Trump did overpromise to undo the damage done by the stimulus and by the gross mismanagement of the American economy by Biden and the Democrats. And prices are still high. But to suggest that people are going towards socialism, an ideology that has existed and based on the idea of malignant envy, being so jealous of what other people have, since even before Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital, is frankly a little ignorant. I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic call, and I'll try to answer some more of those points when we come back here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Crews remain with a crash northbound on the Rock Freeway before Highway 100. Stay on the right side of there to get by. Southbound on 43, going to be tight from Keefe down to the Marquette, then westbound 94, 27 to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Infinity Exteriors. On your way to and from work and in your neighborhood, every day you drive by a beautiful Infinity Exteriors home. Infinity is proud to be chosen Wisconsin's residential roofing contractor of the year. Start your project at infinityexteriors.com.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell, and you know I've always said Wisconsin is built on strong families and solid values. That's exactly what I love about Built Right Furniture. For 4 generations, 98 years strong, the Built Right team has been a proud, locally and family-owned furniture store that's been helping local families save on affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses, mine included. And now they're doing something that really says a lot about who they are. Built Right is open 5 days to shop, Tuesday through Saturday, and on Sunday and Monday, Built Right is closed to be with family and friends. How great is that? A business that cares about the well-being of their team. It's good to be old school in today's 24/7 society, and now is the time to shop Built Right. Their Made in America celebration ends this Saturday at 5 p.m. Get to Built Right for all your home furnishings and mattress needs. Buy local and love your home, and be sure to tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs. Even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
For a free estimate today.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you are guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H.
262-337-0934.
The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech.
262-337-0934.
Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now.
262-337-0934.
MudTechWorks.com.
Dan O'Donnell here. It is This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano, and this week, the world's attention is focused on a massive strike on Iran that almost was. President Trump said he called it off and is giving Iran one last chance for diplomacy. Now, that sent oil prices down, but the markets are really reacting, Dave, as they have pretty much since the start of the Iran war, to the underlying strength of the U.S. economy, and they're largely brushing off the day-to-day goings-on in the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's exactly right. The diplomacy certainly was something that was a big sigh of relief. Oil prices came down significantly, and that was part of the rally. But this is right in the middle of earnings season. So you're right, Dan. We're looking at companies, and as they produce good earnings, they're getting rewarded. And the ones that are not having good earnings reports are really getting hit pretty hard. You put that on top of the Federal Reserve and the fact that they're talking about trying to hold interest rates steady at the same time. This really is an opportunity for the markets to really get better fundamentals across the board. You look at some of the mega cap companies who are putting so much money into capital expenditures. The market wants to start seeing that there is earnings tied to all of this spending. So that's why we go through each and every portfolio, make sure it's tied to our clients, to their risk tolerances, to their goals, and trying to get that done. And that really happens with a free portfolio review.
And that happens at annexwealth.com with someone who's working with you and also for you as a fee-only fiduciary. They're not trying to sell you a product, so head to annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell, saying thanks so much for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
From the road to the roof, S&K will fix your plumbing problems 24/7.
Green Bay Packers football on 95.7 Big FM.
Touchdown, Green Bay Packers!
Powered by Milwaukee Oral Surgery and Implants. Board certified specialists in dental implants, wisdom tooth removal, and corrective jaw surgery. Trusted by Wisconsin dentists for exceptional surgical care. Ask your dentist about Milwaukee Oral Surgery and Implants or call today.
Thursday night, the Packers kick off the preseason in Pittsburgh. Doug Russell's coverage starts at 2. Kickoff at 6 on 95.7 Big FM.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Maloney. The Senate today confirmed Dr. Erica Schwartz as the director for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, placing her in charge of a public health agency. Madison's interim independent police monitor is drawing attention after a confrontation with police during a protest tied to last month's officer-involved shooting death of Corey Ruiz. Video posted on social media shows Aramy Glass making a threat against the city, saying she'd burn it down. Glass says she was injured during the incident and claims police have obstructed her investigation. In business news, the Dow was up 263 points today, but the S&P 500 was down nearly 13 points. The NASDAQ down 221.5 points. Check the Holiday Automotive, a Final Act Sports scoreboard. The Brewers got back into the win column 4 last night from the North.
Showers and thunderstorms possible. Temperatures stay in the 70s, but muggy conditions continue. Clouds linger Thursday morning and gradual clearing, still humid with a high of 76. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barkello.
This report is sponsored by The Rogue Recap with Linda McLaughlin.
Hey, if you're looking for news you can't get anywhere else, then you're a lot like me. I started The Rogue Recap because I wanted to talk about things
and let Pure Talks US
team help you make the switch.
Well, winter's coming and those drafty old windows are about to cost you more than just your comfort. Cold air is seeping in. Heating bills will be climbing. Rooms never quite warm enough will be even colder. So now's the time to replace your windows before the snow flies and the freeze sets in. At Wilco Exteriors, they install high-performance windows built for Wisconsin winters. Better insulation, quieter homes, lower energy bills, and a tighter seal that keeps the cold outside where it belongs. Whether it's HGI, Provia, or Pella, they can help you choose the right windows for your house and budget. No pressure, just honest advice and quality work done right. Don't wait till you're shivering and the bills are high. Visit their website today, wilcoext.com, to book your free estimate. That's wilcoext.com. Make sure to tell them Vicky sent you to get 25% off. Let's get those new windows in before the winter comes. Wilco Exteriors, wilcoext.com, built with integrity.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-IHEART.
We'll see what George Lombard Jr. can do for an encore after a terrific Major League debut last night for the Yankees, where he starred defensively and homered. He says his teammates certainly made him feel comfortable.
Yeah, it was honestly like they made it try to feel just as much as another baseball game. And honestly, I felt like I could just stick with my routine and play another game. So, yeah, I felt pretty good going into it.
Lombard Jr. became the 14th Yankees player to hit a home run in his first Major League game. The Washington Commanders with another weapon for quarterback Jaden Daniels. They're signing free agent Stephon Diggs, who caught 85 passes last season with New England. The Detroit Lions have hired Pistons executive Richard Haddad as their new president and CEO. Rod Wood, currently in the position, is retiring from that role. And Falcons outside linebackers coach John Timu calls the season-ending injury suffered by edge rusher Jalen Walker a huge loss. Walker suffering a torn ACL on Tuesday. That's sports. I'm Frank Arity.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Apparently, President Trump has been delayed a little bit. We will try to get some of his remarks in Las Vegas as he talks about no tax on tips, as he talks about the broader aspects of his relief for the working class in the one big, beautiful bill. But before we do that, we would like to get you some relief. It's the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest, $1,000 little stimulus package here, courtesy of us at iHeartMedia. All you need to do is go to our website, enter the keyword check to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win a check for $1,000, courtesy of us. Had the 5 o'clock winner yesterday. We would like to get the 4 o'clock winner right now. So get to our website, enter the keyword check. You want to join the program, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us via email, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook. You can also check us out on the YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Subscribe to, like, and follow the podcast, Dan O'Donnell Show, on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Had a caller who wanted to know why so many people are turning to socialism now. At this exact moment, this is the first time in history because of Donald Trump and his crypto, and because Republicans are flying the Confederate flag somewhere, apparently. This is the only time people have been seduced by socialism. Karl Marx did not, in fact, write the Communist Manifesto in the 1800s. There was not, in fact, a Bolshevik revolution in the 19-teens. There was not, in fact, a Cuban revolution in the 1950s. Nope, none of that happened. None. The only time people have ever thought that economies don't work, that we are going to turn to the people who promise not to uplift all of us, but to take down the billionaires, to take down the bourgeoisie. so that we can all be at the same level. I wish our caller would read himself some Friedrich Nietzsche. The concept of ressentiment, which really is just a fancy French way of saying resentment, but the concept of ressentiment as Nietzsche described it, as he understood it. And this is before Marx. Nietzsche was writing decades before Karl Marx. He basically nailed the concepts and the philosophy that underpin the socialist mindset. Ressentiment is a malignant envy. Remember, there are two types of envy. I've been talking about this for weeks now. Benign envy means, okay, you're not so much jealous of somebody, but you want what they have. Okay, envy, jealousy, it's a natural part of the human experience. We get it. We had a bunch of people this week win $1,000. You are envious. You won $1,000. So instead of like grabbing a gun and robbing them of $1,000, you say, you know what? I'm going to enter the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest. You do something to try to get what somebody else has. Benign envy is a motivator. Malignant envy says that person doesn't deserve what they got, so I am going to take it for myself. That's malignant envy. What Nietzsche conceptualized was a malignant envy that was so strong, it actually causes somebody to make their own value system in which those who are successful are actually evil, and those who are envious of the successful in a given society are virtuous. That the qualities that make someone successful, industriousness, intelligence, stick-to-itiveness, just talent, that's actually somehow a negative. And that the qualities, he called it the master-slave mentality, that the qualities that made someone a slave, and not an actual slave, but someone who is, say, in the underclass, someone who was not successful. Maybe they're not particularly hardworking. Hardworking is an evil. Being lazy and expecting somebody else to do your work for you, that becomes a virtue. When you reorder your philosophy so that neutral things, values neutral things, being hardworking, yes, we do think of that generally speaking as a good, but is it moral? Is being intelligent moral or immoral? It's neither. It just is. Not to the person who, in Nietzsche's understanding of it, experiences ressentiment. That is fundamentally the driver of why people turn to socialism. Yes, it is sparked by the fact that they don't think that they're getting ahead. But to sort of pin it on economic circumstances from one particular moment in time, especially when that moment is so grossly understood by the Democrats who just can't bring themselves to admit that we have an inflationary crisis, we have an affordability crisis, because Joe Biden and the Democrats who control both houses of Congress at the time, not a single Democrat voted, or not a single Republican rather, voted for that stimulus. And in fact, a generation ago, when Barack Obama, almost a generation ago, had his 2009 stimulus, I don't believe there was a single Republican that voted for that. Or maybe that was Obamacare. I'm not exactly sure. I don't believe any Republicans voted for the Obama stimulus, however. And I know not a single Republican voted for the Biden stimulus because everybody knew it was going to be inflationary. Everybody knew it was going to destroy the economy. But where our caller was, in fact, correct is that when people feel that they're doing what they need to do, what they should do, but aren't getting ahead, they can either say, all right, maybe I need to change careers. All right, maybe I need to dedicate myself to work so I get a promotion, so I change my job, whatever it is. Instead of turning the focus inward, some people will turn the focus outward and say, I did everything right. Society owes me. Society has failed me. And because of that failure, we need to tear it down. There was just a study that was done, or at least that was popularized and put out on social media, and it went, of course, immediately viral. Do you know the demographic and socioeconomic group that is most likely to be a socialist? It is people who have post-college education, meaning they have a PhD, they have a master's degree, they went to maybe they went to law school for 2 years, something like that. But they make $60,000 a year or under. This is ressentiment, because they believe that they are owed, by virtue of how educated they are, that they deserve the $200,000 salary that the guy who owns a plumbing company has, but they believe that that guy is not worthy of what society has, in their eyes, blessed him with. In reality, the guy stuck his neck out, put his own money down, and through his own talent and hard work built up a plumbing business, while the person who got the PhD in queer studies is largely unemployable, except as a barista at Starbucks, is stewing in deep resentment and ultimately self-loathing. But instead of using benign envy to say, I'm jealous of the guy with the plumbing business, hey, you know, maybe I could do this plumbing thing, swallowing the pride, swallowing the ego, and learning a valuable, skilled trade, and actually maybe being able to accomplish everything that the guy with the plumbing business has. They say, no, the system is wrong. The system is screwed up. The system that rewards the guy who can fix toilets, but not the person who can wax philosophically about queer studies, that needs to be torn down. And I need to be at the top because I am virtuous. That, dear listener, is why exactly people choose socialism. The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty today filed a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the online sports gambling law. Online sports betting bill was a very controversial piece of legislation that passed over a deeply divided Republican caucus in the state Senate earlier this year. I was vehemently opposed to its passage, not necessarily because I don't think people should be online sports gambling, although I do believe it is easily the worst form of gambling when it comes to addictions. I think absolutely people should be betting online. I believe you should have sports gambling. Unfortunately, we have gaming compacts in this state, and you need to, if you want to have a form of gambling outside of a state lottery or a small number of slot machines in a gas station, you need to go through the gaming compacts, and the native tribes that already have a monopoly on casino gaming in this state, they need to get a taste. So what was passed was what's known as the hub and spoke model of gambling. The hub is the server on which DraftKings or FanDuel or Caesars is the other big online sports betting hub. Those are where those actual servers live. That's where the actual bets take place, is on these servers. The spokes are all the various cell phones, computers, iPads that take the bet. If the hub is physically located on a sports or on a sports book floor, if the server is physically located in a native casino, then you can have online sports betting in Wisconsin. Naturally, the native tribes, the Potawatomi, the Ho-Chunk, the Oneida, they will charge a pretty penny for the privilege of doing online sports betting in Wisconsin and of putting your server on their property and have it physically located in their sports book. So DraftKings and FanDuel, they're very likely to say, you know what, we don't want to give the tribes 50 to 60% of our profits. So essentially, the tribes will be the only ones who are able to handle online sports betting in Wisconsin. This is beyond unconstitutional. Not the federal constitution, but the state one. In 1993, voters amended our Constitution, Article 4, Section 24, to ban the legislature from authorizing gambling in any form except for bingo, a state lottery, pari-mutuel on-track betting for, say, dog tracks, horse racing. Mobile sports betting is not one of those. It is blanket banned by Article 4, Section 24 of the amended state constitution. The legislature can't do an end run around that. They can't say, well, if this is routed through tribal servers on Indian land, then it's not a new form of gambling. It is still a new form of gambling. If I want to place a sports bet, right now, I need to go drive down to Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, go into their sports book, and get a physical ticket that says I'm picking the Brewers to beat who are they even playing? St. Louis? The Pirates. Well, it's Skeens tonight, right? Skeens is pitching tonight. How could I have forgotten that one? I'm going to bet, all right, I'm going to bet Paul Skeens has more than 8 strikeouts, and all of them will be Christian Yelich striking out. I'm going to bet that Paul Skeens strikes Christian Yelich out 8 times tonight. I have to go all the way down to Potawatomi Hotel and Casino to do it. If I want to bet in-game, if I want to bet on whether Christian Yelich will strike out, can we lay off Christian Yelich? Yes, obviously, he's got to be benched. The man was an MVP. Unfortunately, the back injuries have just taken their toll. No, I don't believe he can be a designated hitter anymore. No, I don't believe he can be on the field. But to blame all of the Brewers' problems on Christian Yelich not being the player he once was, it's terrible. The man has been a great, great Brewer for, 8 years now? 7, 8 years now? What was his first year? 2018, 2017? 2018, they traded for him. Still, I mean, the contract now, okay, not great. Got some great years out. In any event, I can bet online using my phone on whether the next pitch is going to be a ball or a strike. Is that a new form of betting? Or is that the exact same thing as betting on whether the Brewers will beat the Pirates? I can bet on whether Paul Skeens tonight is going to throw a strike on pitch 3. It is an entirely new form of gambling. Voters did not approve this. The Constitution was not amended. The state legislature lacks the authority to do what they did. Not only that, there is also it's not quite as strong, but there's a 14th Amendment question here. Is there, in fact, an equal protection issue by giving a monopoly on sports betting and giving a monopoly on gambling more generally to one particular ethnic group? Why is it that Native Americans have the exclusive monopoly? And don't say, well, it's because it's on their reservations. We have a reservation in downtown Milwaukee that is the exact size of a hotel and casino. What are the odds of that? Clearly, this is not on tribal land. We gifted the land for Potawatomi Hotel and Casino back to the Potawatomi for the express purposes of first putting a bingo hall, and then we just sort of decided that, slot machines, sure, fine. Video poker. Oh, yes, and all table games as well. That one was snuck in there. Thank you very much, Diamond Jim Doyle. This goes beyond the power of the governor and the legislature. The people of Wisconsin amended the Constitution to take that power away from them. The governor signing a law passed by the legislature, which basically just sort of claims for itself the power that the people took back through the constitutional amendment process, is unconstitutional. This is a clear end run around the Constitution's ban on new forms of gambling, save for an amendment to the Constitution. It also creates an illegal race-based monopoly. Now, if there is a federal court that's willing to take up the concept of race-based monopolies on native tribal gaming compacts, that would actually be a bombshell of a case, because there are a lot of states, not just Wisconsin. Florida is another example of a state that only really allows gambling on tribal lands. Because the gaming compacts, I believe, because tribal lands are technically sovereign, right? And this goes back to the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the 1800s and all of this. They are technically sovereign. They are technically separate nations within the nation of the United States. Not really, but they're kind of quasi-independent nations. We allow them to decide for themselves what's legal and what's not within general parameters, so long as they don't directly contradict the laws of the United States and the states that the tribal lands sit on. Like, for example, a native tribe can't suddenly declare, hey, you know what? Murder's going to be legal. We're going to have our own purge on the reservation every year. Can't do that. But native gaming was allowed. If it is ruled that, no, this special privilege that's extended only to native peoples is a violation of the 14th Amendment, that is a big thing. What I believe, though, is that this is, in fact, going to be struck down. Now, you never know how a court is going to rule, and, well, if it goes to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, you kind of know how they're going to rule, but this one seems pretty cut and dry. In 1993, the Constitution was amended so that the voters said, we don't want the legislature to do exactly what the legislature just did. That seems to me to be case closed. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought and not just talk.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Traveling northbound on the Rock Freeway, approaching Highway 100, stay on the left to avoid a crash there. Eastbound on 94, stopping and going 68th to 35th. Westbound delays between 25th and Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
Has socialism ever worked? This week on Red Pilled America, we tell the story of a fascinating community that proves once and for all whether socialism could work in the U.S. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Starting Monday.
After some whitening treatments, even a little cold air can make you wince. So Sensodyne put Clinical White users in front of a full-on leaf blower. Get 2 shades whiter teeth without the wince. Try Sensodyne Clinical White today.
Tracy, why is there a goat in the driveway?
I need a new furnace and I can't afford it, so I'm bartering. Meet my down payment.
You can't pay for a furnace with a goat.
He's worth so much, he does tricks.
Capital does 0% financing for up to 60 months on a new heating and cooling system. No interest, no livestock.
I can keep my money and stay warm?
And get a free second opinion first. Call Capital.
Call CapitalCares.com.
Selling a home can feel overwhelming. Hi, this is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. Our team focuses on making the process simple, transparent, and comfortable. With more than 24 years of experience, we provide full-service real estate for a fee structure that helps you keep more of the equity you've worked so hard to build. You get professional support without the pressure. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Billy the Billy Goat here. Not every roofer can handle
handle the tough jobs, but a Billy Goat can. At Billy Goat Roofing, we're built for the steep, the storm damaged, and we offer a 50-year leak-free warranty. Billy Goat Roofing was just voted best in Milwaukee for roofing. Get honest answers, reliable work, and a roof that's ready for Wisconsin weather. Call Billy Goat Roofing for your free inspection. Always sure-footed when it matters most. Visit BillyGoatRoofing.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
City of Madison is just going to kind of be fighting against the crazies who keep wanting to rebuild their CRAZ zone, the Corey Ruiz Autonomous Zone, from now until eternity. Madison's Mayor Sunbeam Rhodes Conway, okay, her real name is Satya Rhodes Conway. I think I'm going to start calling her Dr. Victor Frankenstein Rhodes Conway, because clearly the monster that she helped create in this city in 2020 has come back to wreak havoc. And now she is desperately hoping to kill it, at least metaphorically speaking. But it is turned on her and the entire community. Fortunately, Mayor Sunbeam gave a press conference today, and the Black Lives Matter crazies didn't interrupt it like they did the last one, where she and Police Chief John Patterson just had to look on helplessly while they gave their talking points and then started screaming at each other in one of the most hilarious displays of 2026. It was like old times. It was like the band got back together that disbanded in 2020, and for one brief, glorious moment, they came back for a comeback tour. Unfortunately, all the members started fighting with each other on stage, and the reunion tour was not to last. But they're trying desperately to keep this tour going. And yes, they have been for the last 24 hours trying to, after they were taken off the streets by the Madison Police Department and other law enforcement agencies and other city workers. In the early morning hours of Tuesday, they came back and they started blocking traffic again. Then Madison's independent police monitor. Think about this for a second. This woman is paid by taxpayers in the city of Madison to, quote, monitor the police. She got herself arrested, thrown to the ground. She said she cut her wrist. It was the wrist? She cut something on her body. It was the most minor little scrape that I think I've ever seen. And she's trying to turn this into a huge deal that somehow she was a victim of police brutality. Drone footage shows her getting in the face of multiple cops, of her actually putting her hands on the cops. She apparently was trying to get one police officer's badge number, and she tried to spin him around as he was walking away from her to try to get him to show his badge to her. What do you think? Is that an aggressive move to a cop? Do you think that you can do that? Are you just able to put your hands on the cops and nothing is going to happen? Can you just grab a cop and say, I want to see your badge number? No, that is at the very least harassment. It is threatening behavior, and it theoretically, you do it hard enough, it could be assault. So the cops take her down. Well, the crazies didn't like that at all. They started trying to reformulate the CRAZ zone, and by late last night, You needed to have SWAT team members go in with visors and shields because fires were being started in the middle of the streets. Barricades were being brought out. They tried to simply shut down the entire neighborhood like they were allowed to for 2 whole weeks. Well, what we have learned just within the last couple of hours, really, is that your tax dollars are absolutely not just paying the salary of Madison's independent police monitor. And yes, this is city tax dollars, but also shared revenue. Remember, every city in Wisconsin, through a formula that is devised by the state legislature, gets state aid, get state taxpayer dollars. So in a very real sense, even if you're listening to me in, say, Cudahy, you are paying for your tax dollars went to the independent police monitor who got herself arrested. Not only that, your tax dollars went to an organization called Freedom Inc., which is providing snacks and tents to the crazies who are violating the law. We are going to get into this story when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just a couple of minutes.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Southbound 4145 stopping and going from Good Hope to past Capitol. Got northbound delays starting at Burleigh, cleared up after Hampton. Jammed southbound 43 from Brown Deer to Good Hope and Capitol to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Red Pilled America.
Has socialism ever worked? This week on Red Pilled America, we tell the story of a fascinating community that proves once and for all whether socialism could work in the U.S. Listen to Red Pilled America on the iHeartRadio app. That's Red Pilled America.
I love it! Hello, I'm Robert, and I just won $1,000 just for listening to Dan O'Donnell, WIS.
The hot weather is here, and that means it's time to play the nationwide sizzling summer cash contest on WISN. 9 times each weekday, listen for the contest keyword and enter it at newstalk1130.com. If your luck is hot and your entry is selected, you'll win a cool grand $1,000.
The Sizzling Summer Cash Contest is presented by Joda Solutions, custom software for your business built for the way you work. JODASolutions.com.
Hi, it's Jay Weber. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned, there are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. You see, if your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems such as mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer. This is one of the reasons I recommend Semperfi Roofing to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every Semperfi roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. And right now, money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today, 262-600-2910, or book an appointment at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
David Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring, recommending iNet for web development and SEO.
That's all?
And graphic design, photography, and video.
That's more like it, Dave. Flawless installed luxury vinyl at 3 properties I own, including iNet. The 8 separate projects were easy, turned out beautiful, exceptional value, and are extremely durable.
But wait, there's more. iNet's creative genius branding and radio gives Flawless a unique identity, making us stand out. Hiring iNet is casting a net that pulls in customers your business wants and needs.
Clever, Dave. Haha, you just might have a future in radio ad writing.
My future is secure in flooring, partially because we cast our iNet 5 years ago.
Having Flawless replace pet stain and stink-saturated carpet is a smell and sight upgrade, making every day more beautiful and less gross. Flawless Flooring, LLC.com.
Having iNet replace underperforming web, radio, and e-marketing enhances business opportunity for profitable growth. iNet-web.com. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, a fee-only fiduciary.
Fee-only fiduciary really further separates the folks that either say fiduciary some of the time or best interests altogether. And it's not just that alone. It is, of course, everything else that we can bring to the table that this just isn't asset management. It is estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
Hey, it's Dan, and the path towards feeling better isn't always a straight line. When life twists and turns, Sagent Behavioral Health is there to support you through every curve and bump along the way. They offer trusted therapy, psychiatry, and substance abuse treatment throughout the Milwaukee area. Their compassionate team meets you where you are and walks alongside you to create meaningful, lasting change. With in-person and telehealth appointment options and a wide network of accepted insurance plans, their care is designed to support and move with you. It's one of the largest outpatient mental health providers in the Midwest and provides therapy, psychiatry, substance abuse disorder treatment, and other mental health services. And their team includes licensed therapists, psychiatrists, alcohol and drug counselors, and care professionals working together to support whole person health. Sagent Behavioral Health. New name, same care. Learn more and find a clinic near you at sagentbh.com.
Why do you love movies? Is it the emotion, the spectacle, the escapism? On Raiders of the Lost podcast, we explore cinema like no one else, including huge interviews with stars like Ryan Gosling on Project Hail Mary.
It was like the Jaws shark. Didn't always work, came with its own problems. That's what made it great. The heart of the movie is Rocky and Grace, and their friendship is hard-earned.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Raiders of the Lost podcast, and listen now.
No radio handy?
No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com.
To the Dan O'Donnell Show, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Yes, socialists really believe the crazy stuff that they espouse. Why can't Francesca Hong just say, no, I don't want to abolish the prison system and the institution of policing? No, policing didn't actually come from the slave patrols because they actually believe it. They actually believe this stuff. In their very souls, they believe that the concept of policing did not come from Great Britain. We had a caller who could not believe that tipping didn't actually originate with the British aristocracy and that this didn't actually come over with the advent of transatlantic voyages, as it was much easier to come across the Atlantic. The practice spread to the United States. A lot of liberals cling to the myth, and it is largely a myth, that the Pullman company, Pullman sleeping cars with the railroads, that they essentially kept slavery going by paying black workers far less than what they should have been paid and expecting the customers to be able to make that up with tipping. Okay. Who would have been taking Pullman cars? Who would have been able to afford a Pullman sleeper car? Would it be someone who is in the American aristocracy? Where would they get the concept? Would the Pullman company say, hey, you better give that black guy a couple of dollars because we're not paying him enough? No, they wouldn't have said that. The concept was also widespread because it came from old Europe. That doesn't matter to the avowed leftist, though. They get sort of the half story in their heads This is recycled ad nauseum by a writer for, I believe, Time magazine, has a very influential article on the left. Oh, yeah, it was the Pullman Company and the racism. It's not. Just as policing predates transatlantic slavery or the West African slave trade by about 100 years or so, there's just no evidence for any of this, but they believe it. They deeply hold beliefs that are completely fictitious. I'm telling you, one of the most damning indictments of America's education system is the fact that the 1619 Project, the woke alternate history that the New York Times put out some years ago, was as popular as it was. All right. Your tax dollars are absolutely paying for the woke craziness in Madison. Freedom Inc., which is a left-wing organization that has been funded by the Department of Justice here in Wisconsin for many, many years. In fact, Dan Bice, the late reporter, wrote about this. In 2020, it was something that was very quickly forgotten, that Freedom Inc. got a substantial grant. The executive director of Freedom Inc. was at one point making something like $300,000. The group has gotten millions and millions and millions in state tax money. In 2020, they were the ones leading the way in the protest movement over George Floyd. Who do you suppose is leading the way once again? What did we see today as a group of these nuts showed up at the Dane County Jail and started demanding with the bullhorns that all of the black prisoners be released because of, racism and slave patrols and so forth? Freedom Inc. Freedom Inc. has been getting millions in your money, thanks to Attorney General Josh Kaul, and what they have been doing. So there was I believe this was from WMTV in Madison. Yep, WMTV in Madison, Instagram post. You can see a woman on a bullhorn, clearly with Freedom Inc. tents behind her, screaming for the release of prisoners. You can also see snacks at a table for her. For all of the people who came out, they got snacks. Who provided the funds for those snacks? Why, it was you. Why, it was me. Why, it was every single taxpayer in Wisconsin. Freedom Inc. is a nonprofit that is absolutely not supposed to be engaged in political activity. Now, do you believe the occupation of a street in Madison, the calling for the release of prisoners, do you believe that this is political activity? Why, no, it's justice. It's just justice. They're calling for justice for all. No, this is absolutely political activity. Not only that, this is a group that needs to have its funding cut yesterday. Thankfully, tomorrow, in January, we'll very likely have a new governor, a new attorney general, and a Republican legislature that will cut all funding to Freedom Inc. Because this has been, for years now, a rotten organization that is sowing the seeds of discord in Madison and across the state and using all of our dollars to do so. It's sort of the last bastion of the USAID-style grant money that was going to left-wing agitprop that would in turn only exist to get Democrats elected and to get more money flowing into those left-wing agitprop organizations. This money, though, comes from the state of Wisconsin, and the money is very clearly being used to fund the Corey Ruiz homeless camp that has caused all manner of chaos for the last 2+ weeks in Madison. Coming up, an email from a Milwaukee police officer who graduated with the Academy class of 2001 and is now preparing for retirement reflects on just how bad things have gotten, not just in Milwaukee, but for police officers everywhere because of the rise of the organized Freedom Inc. funded protest movement and the left-wing crazies. That story is coming up right after this here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 4145 stopping and going from Good Hope to past Capitol. Got northbound delays starting at Burleigh, cleared up after Hampton. Jammed southbound 43 from Brown Deer to Good Hope and Capitol to the Marquette. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships.
The 10th sale event is happening now at the Lynch family of dealerships. Hundreds of vehicles, massive savings, and the best incentives of the year. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit shoplynch.com today.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman. Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Shop Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers on top of our low simplified price. And get more for your trade on a new Buick or GMC.
We are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest. Take a test drive and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive Fond du Lac and at HolidayGMCBuick.com.
It's worth the trip.
On August 11th, vote for Republican David Varnum for Lieutenant Governor. Varnum will be bold on lowering taxes, protecting the unborn, keeping men out of women's sports and their bathrooms, work to deport criminal illegal aliens, and give parents a voice and a choice in education. Varnum is a former mayor of Lancaster, where the city had the lowest property taxes and utility fees in Grant County, and is a former policy analyst at Focus on the Family for Dr. James Dobson. Varnum is endorsed by Pro-Life Wisconsin Victory Fund PAC and Wisconsin Family Action PAC. Learn more at davidvarnum.com. Varnum is spelled with a V as in victory.
Hi, this is former Lancaster Mayor David Varnum. I'm a pro-life, pro-Second Amendment conservative who thinks we need to elect leaders that will be bold. I'm tired of hearing about Texas and Florida when it comes to tax policy. We need to lower our taxes and be a leader in the Midwest. I will stand up for faith, family, and freedom, and I'm proud to be endorsed by the Pro-Life Wisconsin Victory Fund PAC and Wisconsin Family Action PAC. I'm a girl dad who wants to protect women's sports and their bathrooms. If you want a leader who will do what they say they will do, ask for your vote for David Varnum for Lieutenant Governor on August 11th.
Paid for by Varnum for Wisconsin.
The podcast world is filled with grifters who will say anything for clicks. I'm Mark Belling, and I will never say something I don't believe and can't back up. The Mark Belling Podcast is back on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline. For quality shipping and industrial supplies, Uline has everything in stock. Visit uline.com. The Mark Belling Podcast is also supported by Annex Wealth Management. The Mark Belling Podcast is now available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Divorce is challenging, but getting a favorable outcome shouldn't be. I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law. At Divergent Family Law, our experienced attorneys are committed to helping you understand your rights and options. We believe everyone deserves guidance through life's toughest transitions. During our free consultation, we'll give you a clear breakdown of the process and a flat rate quote for representation. Our attorneys will give you an honest assessment of your options based on Wisconsin law and your local judges. They'll help you make informed, confident decisions. You deserve to feel secure, not shortchanged. You may feel pressured to play nice with your spouse, or you may feel like you have no choice but to dig your heels in to fight on every topic. But being fair doesn't mean giving up your fair share. At Divergent Family Law, we're here to protect your future and prioritize what's truly important to you. You can be fair and still get your fair share. or better. Reach out now for a free divorce consultation. Go to divergentfamilylaw.com. That's divergentfamilylaw.com.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time, so I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Business owners, one day the time will come to sell your business you've spent a lifetime building. And when that day comes, remember, it's not just about the money, it's about preserving your legacy. Local, experienced, and trusted, we are Lake Country Advisors.
Kessler's Diamonds.
My radio show was very popular, but the Jay Weber podcast is turning out to be some of my best and most insightful work. This is really good stuff. Twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Profound insight, piercing analysis. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I'm going to be totally honest with you, folks. I'm sort of flying at a bit of a disadvantage here. I forgot I am using, and I swear I am not getting any sort of endorsement money for this, but I should be, because I think this product is absolutely incredible. It's called Viz. No, it is not like a fruity drink. It sounds like it. V-I-Z-Z. It is eye drops that are basically for people exactly like me who have pretty good eyesight, except we're starting to get old and need to wear reading glasses. Well, I can't really wear reading glasses because of the glare from the lights on the Dano cam. I actually always wear reading glasses when I'm doing the show if we're not live streaming it. I can't, though, when I am on camera. So it has been all show very difficult to read my notes. And it's been tough. So I'm going to try to read this email, but you're going to have to bear with me. I got this from a Milwaukee police officer who is getting ready to retire. She is a graduate of the class of 2001 from the Milwaukee Police Academy. And her email on what officers have had to face over the last quarter century is kind of remarkable. Hello, Dan. I am a very loyal listener and have been since you first joined the 1130 team many years ago. When you took over for Mark Belling in the 3 to 6 p.m. spot, I became fond of your Unsung Hero of the Day segment. Well, I have a shameless plug for this segment for you to consider for your show on August 20th. And I am actually going to do this on August 20th, but I have to read this email now. On August 20th, 2026, the Milwaukee Police Department Class 2 of 01 is set to retire after 25 years of service to the city of Milwaukee. I am a member of that class. We started with a class of 63 police recruits. Sadly, we became known as the 9/11 class, as in less than a month after joining the force, the worst terror attack on United States soil occurred. Before the academy concluded 6 months later, 61 of the 63 graduated from the academy to begin our careers. Since graduating, my class has endured 5 chief of police changes, 2 significant riots, a global pandemic, the computerization of the police report and inventory system, the advent of cell phones in mass public use, and the implementation of body-worn cameras. We have had chase policies restricted and reinstated, statewide concealed carry allowed, and countless other policy changes to adapt to. We have worked nights, weekends, and holidays so citizens may enjoy theirs. We have had several officer-involved shootings and sadly endured 6 Milwaukee police officers killed in the line of duty since 2018. Thankfully, none of these members were from our class, but 2 of our classmates have passed away due to other circumstances. due to resignations, early retirements due to age, or status as a police aide prior to service as a police officer, 23 of us from that original 63 remained to retire with a full 25 years sworn on the force. My class ultimately saw one member advance to the rank of captain, 2 lieutenants, 10 sergeants, 2 detectives, and 8 members remaining officers. When we were fresh out of the academy, it was not uncommon to know officers who had over 30 years of service. That's not really the case anymore. The climate of policing is very different now than it ever was, and many of us are simply ready to move on to the next chapters of our lives. At any rate, Dan, I would like to tip my cap to my fellow members of the Class 2 of 01 and wish them the very best in their well-earned retirement. Thanks for your consideration, Dan, and as always, love the show. That's from a Milwaukee police officer. I'm not going to give rank. I am not going to give a name, obviously. But think about that for a second. What these folks have had to live through. All of the changes in society, what they have had to deal with as the respect for police officers. They came onto the force at the time in American history that I dare say policing in this country was more respected than ever before. Everybody saw a video of officers running into the cloud of debris as everybody else was running out, many of whom never made it out. Even more died of disease, died of cancers related to the inhalation of that smoke years later, and they're still dying. Now, you've got people like Francesca Hong saying police officers are nothing more than modern-day slave catchers. They enact state-sanctioned violence on the populace. In reality, all of these people gave 25 years of their lives to serving all of this. All of us. And I tip my cap to them as well. Congratulations, officers.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Maloney. A federal judge today dismissed the seditious conspiracy case against members of the far-right Oath Keepers extremist group at the Trump administration's request. Madison's interim independent police monitor is facing criticism after making a threat during a protest tied to last month's officer-involved shooting death of Corey Ruiz. Video posted online shows Aramik Glass shouting an expletive-laced threat towards the city. Glass says police injured her and have hindered her investigation. The Wisconsin State Fair opens Thursday in West Dallas, and the Sporky winners have been announced. Ahead of opening day, Fiesta Grill and Cantina's Birria Flamin' Bombs won the Golden Sporky, while the Tilt-A-Spritz from the Old Fashioned Supper Club took home the Drinky Award. Checking the Holiday Automotive Final Act Sports scoreboard, the Brewers beat the Pirates 4-2 on Tuesday night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Sean Maloney on News Talk 1130 WISN.
This hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show is presented by Warshawski Law.
Insurance companies will fear your case with Warshawski. Injured? It is about the money. Warshawski Law.
From the Odoo.com Weather Center. Odoo.com, the only business software you need.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms this evening with fog developing overnight. Temperatures dropping into the 60s. Partly sunny for the opening day of State Fair on Thursday. Just a few morning showers with a high in the mid to upper 70s. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Discovering a mouse in your home can be distressing and damaging. This is where wildlife and rodent exclusion come in. At Batzner Pest Control, they implement methods to safeguard your home against these intruders. To learn more, give them a call or visit Batzner.com today.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here.
A tree planted in 1646 was instrumental to freedom you enjoy today.
For a decade, Sons of Liberty, including Paul Revere, Samuel Adams, and John Hancock, gathered under the Liberty Tree for meetings, speeches, and celebrations.
I'm Willow Voss. Makes me wonder what the historical significance trees Plant and Go plants might have hundreds of years from now.
If our oppressors didn't cut the Liberty Tree down, Cut and Go would meticulously manicure it for America's 250th anniversary. Cut and Go's remote-controlled, truck-mounted, articulated grapple saw operators will meticulously manicure your trees, removing damaged branches, limbs, even whole trees, getting your property ready to celebrate God's gift, America. Grind and Go removes eyesore trip hazard stumps, and Plant and Go will implement a maximum beauty and benefit new, potentially historic tree planting plan.
Happy 250th anniversary, a Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's CutandGoTrees.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight, making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
Why does Progressive help support truckers? Because truckers unite the world. Truckers unite whistles and lifeguards. Truckers unite fitness devices with people who don't exercise. Truckers unite your aunt with those live, laugh, love signs. But truckers can't do any of this if they're not on the road. That's why Progressive helps safe truckers save an average of $6,181 when they elect to share their ELD data with us. Get a quote at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. 2025 National Average Safe Driver Enrollment Discount Savings for new Progressive customers exclude mandatory program participants. Not available in all states. Driving data could increase or decrease premiums at renewal.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio. And listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows. Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Priester with your closing business report. The major averages were mixed today, with the NASDAQ and S&P 500 lower, weighed down by declines in some major tech stocks, while the Dow Jones moved higher, boosted by strong earnings and an advance in NVIDIA stock. And shares of Shopify jumped more than 16% following third quarter guidance. Shopify sees revenue growth in the low 30% range on a year-over-year basis, above the call for a 26.5% increase estimated from FactSet. At the close, the Dow was up 263 points, the S&P 500 was down 13 points, the NASDAQ was down 221 points. From Creative Planning, I'm Anthony Priester.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style, intelligent discourse, and irreverent fun. We do both, hopefully, in equal measure each and every afternoon from 3 to 6 Central Time. And if you would like to join us on today's foray into broadcast competence, 414-799-1130 is our Carpetland USA Flooring Center talk and text line. We always want to hear from people who disagree. We love talking to Democrats. I actually am considering just opening up the phone, I guarantee I am going to regret this. I genuinely want to know, though, how many Democrats are actually going to vote for Francesca Hong? Like, I know ultimately all of you will, because let's face it, most of you are brain dead zombies who do exactly what your party bosses tell you. Say, no, Dan, that's Republicans. They just listen to you. They're like ditto heads. My God, my own listeners are like my biggest critics. They tell me, no, Dan, we're not going to do what you say. We are going to cross over and we're going to vote for Francesca Hong in the primary. Would that all of my listeners didn't think for themselves. I wish. What happens when Democrat voters finally think for themselves? They demand socialist candidates, and the Democratic Party has to desperately try to rig their primaries so that the independent thinking libs don't actually elect fundamentally unelectable candidates. Trump is speaking in Las Vegas. Fox isn't going with this one live, huh? Oh, all right. I kind of wanted to hear what the man had to say. I have not heard a Trump speech believe it or not, while I was doing a lot of work while we were in Greece for a week and a half, ladies and gentlemen, I was doing a lot of work, getting ready to come back and just keeping an eye on what's going on. I obviously am the editor-in-chief of a news publication now, the Heartland Post. I haven't heard the man expound on topics in long form for a while, but we do have a lot to get to this hour. David Varnum, candidate for lieutenant governor, is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Yes, there are elections going on in Wisconsin. There are primaries besides the Democratic gubernatorial race. David is running against Will Martin for lieutenant governor. There is a contested primary for Secretary of State. We'll try to get some pub on that one, too. There is a big Waukesha County Sheriff's primary coming up as well. We'll try to get to all of it, but I am genuinely curious how many Democrats actually are cool with your party being taken over by socialists. We had one lib call up earlier in the show, and I don't know. He's from, what did he say, Libertyville, Illinois. I'm actually wondering, is he cool with the socialist takeover of his party? Is he just going to fall in line like a good little lib? We have a guy who's been calling me forever, Bill from Oconomowoc. He's like the only one who consistently calls. Is he cool with his party being taken over by socialists? The old school Dems, I don't think they've quite grasped yet that every one of them is going to be primaried. Every one of them is going to be taken out. Every one of them is going to be forced to the proverbial gulag because they're not going to have a party anymore. It is going to be the Democratic Socialist Party. It's not going to be the Democratic Party as any of them know it. And this is why I think they are fighting so damned hard to keep Francesca Hong. Sure, they know just as everybody knows that, well, yes, it's theoretically possible she can win. Tony Evers just comes out and says, hey, Tony, do you think Franny Hong can win? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, she sucks pretty bad. I mean, you've seen her speak. Right now, she probably can't win. But the real existential threat is win or lose. This is why I say Democrats are caught between a rock and a Hong place, because win or lose, she is proving that the path forward, the votes that the candidates that the Democrat voters want, they're all socialists. They're all much farther left wing and insane. They believe insane things. Like, do you know right now, the WNBA is having a bit of an existential crisis of its own because Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark's friend, said in an interview with ESPNW, I believe, that, men should stay in men's sports and women should be in women's sports. And nobody in the WNBA can allow this to stand. So her coach, a woman by the name of Stephanie White, I believe, who's just a left-wing, she is the stereotypical left-wing just idiot. She's asked, So Sophie Cunningham said that women should not have to compete against men. What do you think about that? She said, I honestly don't think I've done enough research on the topic to speak. At least you're admitting how stupid you are. Obviously, there has been a ton of research that's been done here. So right now, my buddy Clay Travis is trying to get a transgender dude who's dominating the French women's league. Seriously, he's a guy. He's like 6'3", and you see him playing against the women in the 2nd division French women's league. And it honestly is... It's hilarious how much he's able. He's averaging 21 points and 20 rebounds a game. And he's now saying, yeah, I could totally come over to the WNBA. So Clay Travis is trying to get him over. He's also offering something like $10 million to the WNBA if the WNBA All-Star team would play a state champion basketball team of Clay Travis's choosing. First of all, the state champion basketball team from like New York or California is going to absolutely dominate. In fact, I would put Wisconsin Lutheran basketball from last year. They had like 17 different Knipple boys, and the Mr. Basketball, Xavier Zenz, who is Iowa State. I believe he's going to, is he? Do we know, Doug? Xavier Zenz. He was like the top basketball player in Wisconsin last year. Iowa State sounds right. Yeah, he was going to a smaller school in Illinois, but then every great Wisconsin basketball player at some point passes through Iowa State. They've just got a great recruiting structure. The coach has deep ties here, obviously. Otzelberger, right? In any event, yeah, TJ Otzelberger. I digress. Everybody's like, shut up and just give us the word for the Sizzlin' Summer Cash Contest. I will. Nationwide keyword, new, N-E-W, new. You've got until 5:55. Go to the website, enter the keyword new to enter the contest for this hour. The word is new, $1,000 on the line. 5 years ago, 5 years ago, we were in peak woke. 10 years ago, did anybody believe that men should be playing against women in basketball? Did anybody, if you were to ask Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie, hey, do you think you should be playing against Tim Duncan? They would have said no. He'd obviously dominate. There's an entire reason the WNBA exists. He committed to Illinois. That was it. He did commit to Illinois. That traitor. No, I'm kidding. He seems like an incredible kid. And isn't he the Knipple's cousin? Yeah. He's Wisconsin. They're just absolutely incredible. Boy, oh boy. Con Knipple. What an incredible. Now, obviously, we are big fans here on this program of Whitnall superstar and now Milwaukee Buck Tyler Hero. In fact, we are currently calling for the arrest, trial, and conviction of Bam Adebayo for punching our king. I'm a Whitnall alum, so is Tyler Hero, obviously. The Dub, we stick together. But 10 years ago, do you think it would even be a question? If Tyler Hero and Con Knipple played a 2-on-2 basketball game against who are the two best WNBA players? Well, the WNBA players themselves think Caitlin Clark is the 11th best guard because they just hate her so much. The Las Vegas Aces, what's her name? D Monique or something like that. Asia Wilson, that's it. Asia Wilson and Caitlin Clark against Con Knipple and Tyler Hero. Would Asia and Caitlin score a point? 1s and 2s to 21. I'm not entirely sure. Caitlin would probably, as soon as she gets the ball, she just jack up threes. There is zero chance Asia Wilson would be able to do anything against two NBA players. And this is nothing against her. It's nothing against Caitlin. It's biological reality. Why do these libs, why do people like Francesca Hong say things like, well, there's no biological difference between the sexes? Well, yes, they can compete on an equal playing field. And then when they're called on it, why can't they just deny it? Why can't, for example, why can't she just say, yeah, you know what? No, I don't really believe in abolishing Thanksgiving. Yeah, I was swept up in the woke fervor. I did some research and realized that there's nothing actually wrong with Thanksgiving. Instead, she's got to make a really bad joke about, no, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This was her on the Politico podcast today.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. Because I
there you have it.
Yep. I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it.
Oh, yeah. She totally loves it. And of course, she's asked, what do you want to, or how do you actually celebrate Thanksgiving, Fran?
Another thing is like when you learned about.
Wait a second. That's not the one we were looking for. How do you actually celebrate Thanksgiving?
We bring, actually, it's kind of in-laws and family members and their in-laws, and it's a big event. You know, I'm going to be real. I'm kind of a curmudgeon when it comes to holidays in general. But right now, what we want to get serious about is making sure that we deliver a Democratic trifecta for the majority, for Democrats. And it's exciting to see more and more people join our movement, get engaged, get organized, and get to work to make sure that we have Democrats in the majority in the legislature and the executive this year.
Smooth transition there, Fran. Silky smooth. In all seriousness, and I don't mean this as any sort of comment on her past mental health struggles. Are they doping her up with something? Because this is not how Fran Hong always sounds, right? This is not. I've been covering this woman for a long time. I have never heard her sound. Did she really need to think this hard about what her favorite holiday was?
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
She sounds like a second grader who's been put on the spot and didn't actually do the homework. 2 times 7 is 14. I've never heard what they're actually trying to. They're saying, Fran, when you are talking like you normally talk and your eyes kind of bug out and you do like the weird crazy eyes thing, it's scary and it's off-putting. So we'd rather have you do this weird whisper talk where it sounds like you've been taking a whole bunch of Valium. Like you have been doing nothing but surviving on downers since the Clinton administration. It's weird. It's weird. Can we just let Fran be Fran? You know what? Let Fran cook. Can we let the chef cook? No matter how you dress her up, or no matter how you bring her down with however it is Democrats are convincing her to lose the weird, crazy affect for the weird, soft, half whisper, half talking affect. Fran's going to be Fran. And she's never going to fully disavow her past craziness. Why? Because she truly, truly believes it. A lot of women do. A lot of socialists really believe this stuff. On the Hill this morning, a woman by the name of Lindsey Granger, who is apparently one of the co-anchors, helped prove this point by saying she co-anchors with, and I forgive me, I have never heard his name pronounced, Robbie Soave, I don't know, S-O-A-V-E. He's all over social media. I had no idea he was on the Hill. He's actually a very talented broadcaster. He was trying his best to co-host with this woman, Lindsey Granger, who is a true believer just like Fran. They believe things that are patently false, and they say them with such incredible conviction that you almost wonder, how are you this confident and yet this completely clueless? Like, for example, here she says, yes, the police in this country absolutely are rooted in white supremacy because they descend directly from slave patrols. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Yeah, let's hear Franny again, huh? This is just too good not to keep playing.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
My least favorite job is police officer. Here's Lindsey Granger.
What she's speaking to, and I'll talk to every single thing that she brought up, is actually really relevant. So when you talk about policing in America being rooted in white supremacy, that's the truth. In the 18th century slave patrols down south, they were meant to catch slaves, and that turned into modern day policing, particularly down south. So when you talk about the root of why we created police, look at slave patrols down south and you'll find that connection.
Police.
Yes, it is, literally.
That's false. That's just misinformation.
It was established in 1704 in South Carolina. It's accurate. Look it up. And you say this is a fallacy, but you never come with receipts that prove otherwise.
First of all, that's not a fallacy. That's literally not what a fallacy is. And I always do come with receipts. In fact, every American police department was specifically modeled on the London Metropolitan Police. In 1829, Sir Robert Peel and his Peelian principles of preventive policing by having uniformed professional police officers in cities across Britain and across the United States that are accountable to civilian authority, like, say, mayors. First police force, 1838. New York City followed in 1845. 1838 was in Boston. 1845, in fact, in New York was a direct response, a pretty direct response to something called the Eggnog Riot. It was a riot at West Point, the military academy. The cadets could not have alcohol for their traditional Christmas party, so they got bootleg eggnog. They brought in alcohol and they made their own eggnog, and they all got really drunk and basically rioted. Look it up. It is hysterical, but it very real, in a very real sense, it led directly to the formation of the New York City Police Department. By about the 1880s, I would say pretty much every major American city had uniformed police officers. Now, these all grew out, just like the concept of tipping, the concept of police forces grew out of other English systems that were brought to the colonies. They had sheriffs, they had constables, there were night watches. In 1631, the city of Boston had a night watch. New Amsterdam, by about the middle of the 1600s, had something called the Rattle Watch. Philadelphia, by 1700, all of these were volunteer and part-time arrangements where people would, what they would do was basically keep watch. They would make sure that nobody was prowling and victimizing people as they slept or stealing from barns. But these proved to be inadequate as these cities grew very, very quickly. The shift was needed to be more proactive. There needed to be, as urbanization happened, you needed to have the ability to protect everybody. And it grew out of that. It had nothing to do with slave patrols. Truly nothing. The slave patrols did begin in the early 1700s. I'm not sure about 1701. They were known as paddy rollers, and the first ones were in South Carolina. But these were linked to militias. These were linked to things that were organized by county courts that were specifically tasked with catching runaway slaves and returning them and then preventing slave revolts. These were very specialized. And as we see, the police forces were already developing out of the night watch and the constable system that was brought over from Britain. It had nothing to do with patty rolling. It had everything to do with crime prevention and response to crime. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk with David Varnum. He's running for lieutenant governor. He is on the phone. He is standing by, and we will talk to him on the other side of this break. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
43 southbound, stopping and going from Capitol to the Marquette, on to 4394 down to the KK River Bridge, 4394 northbound Titan National, past the Marquette and on up to Center. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Take 5 Oil Change. Don't let the oil light add drama. Head to Take 5 and save $15. Just drive in, stay in your car, and get right back to your day. Take 5, the stay in your car 10-minute oil change. Terms apply. Visit take5.com/audio for details.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Starting Monday.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival is connecting all of us.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Hi, it's Jay Weber. Let's talk about the roof on your home. A lot of you will need to replace your roof this summer, but be forewarned, there are roofing companies out there that skip over the most important part of the process, the attic ventilation. You see, if your attic doesn't have proper air circulation, it can cause problems such as mold and wood rot, leaks in the winter, not to mention higher AC bills in the summer. This is one of the reasons I recommend Semperfi Roofing to my listeners. Their process begins with a free 21-point roof inspection that includes a thorough inspection of your attic. They know that if the ventilation isn't right, the roof will be built on a shaky foundation. Every Semperfi roof comes with a well-thought-out attic ventilation plan, and that's why they can offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. And right now, money-saving discounts and financing incentives are available. Call for your free 21-point roof inspection and estimate today, 262-600-2910, or book an appointment at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
No matter what business you're in, as the #1 SBA lender in Wisconsin, Summit Credit Union helps your vision take shape with loan programs, great rates, and strategic solutions. Awarded #1 SBA lender by the Small Business Administration of Wisconsin in 2025.
Jason, meet Gerald. He predicts winter.
Tracy, that's a garden gnome.
Gerald says the freeze is coming early. My furnace needs to be ready now.
You don't need a psychic lawn ornament. This is Milwaukee. Winter's always coming. That's why Capital's doing $29 heating or cooling beyondification tune-ups all August.
$29? Gerald did not see that coming.
Book in August and beat the freeze. The price only goes up after that.
Sorry, Gerald. Call Capital.
Call CapitalTears.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and it's hard to believe, but there are actually races that are going on that are not the Democratic gubernatorial race. It seems as though that primary has taken on a life of its own. I dare say probably the most watched primary nationwide right now. Within the last week, really, especially within the last 2 days, 3 days, as all of Francesca Hong's old tweets and video clips are coming to the surface, and people just can't believe how nuts they are. this has become a nationwide battle against socialism, but Republicans do have a contested primary for lieutenant governor. And one of those candidates joins me now. He is David Varnum. David, how you doing? Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, I'm doing great, Dan. It's good to be on with you again, and I hope you enjoyed your week away last week.
Oh, absolutely, I did. It was great to kind of get away, obviously, with Mandela Barnes dropping out with the Democratic primary. Always stuff to cover. What have you thought about what's been going on in the Democratic gubernatorial race and all the craziness and the rise of socialism?
I mean, it's amazing. It's not even the mainstream media that is covering this. I happened to walk past the TV yesterday, and TMZ was talking about Francesca Hong.
Really?
And the craziness of her Thanksgiving comments. Yeah, and it is amazing. But let's be honest here. This is the left who, for years, has been pushing further and further to the left, the Democratic Party, and now they're going to have to deal with it. And that is what is coming out into the full public view, is really how liberal the Democratic Party has become.
Yeah, I think. Four different presidents to say, hey, we need to have a national day of Thanksgiving to God. And Lincoln finally got back to her and said, yeah, I think we absolutely should do this. And it was during the Civil War. And he said, we need a day to just reflect and react. And it was, we sort of now mark the first Thanksgiving, but it was a day of Thanksgiving to God. I mean, just the historical ignorance of these people is just astounding. And in fact, Tom Tiffany echoed your points in a Fox News interview yesterday. He said what they're not attacking is Thanksgiving. They are, but what they're really attacking is American civilization. It's American culture. That's the thing they really want to abolish, because that's the thing they really hate. If you win this primary, you are going to be Tom Tiffany's running mate. Why do you think you're the best man for that job?
Well, first, I'm the only elected official, or former elected official, anyone who's held office, that is running for the seat out of the two on the Republican side. I've actually done what I said I was going to do, and we have all heard politicians get up and say, oh, I'm going to do this if you elect me. Well, as mayor, I ran as a fiscal conservative, and when I left after 6 years, we had the lowest property taxes and lowest utility fees of any city in our county. I broke a tie to defeat a wheel tax. I was the first mayor in more than 20 years to use the veto, and that included vetoing a 40% stormwater fee increase. I actually did what I said I was going to do. But I think if you also look at my background, you will see that it's very unique. Not only am I a former rural mayor, but I'm a former congressional aide to a member of Congress from suburban Los Angeles, where I handled housing, water, and transportation aids issues for him in the Los Angeles area. And then I'm also a former federal policy analyst to Dr. James Dobson at Focus on the Family. And I'm proud to be endorsed by Pro-Life Wisconsin and Wisconsin Family Action PACs.
You weren't, however, endorsed by the Republican Party of Wisconsin, and your opponent in this primary, Will Martin, actually won that endorsement pretty overwhelmingly. Why do you think, given the fact that Republicans who went to the convention, delegates to the convention, overwhelmingly picked your opponent, why do you believe that you're going to be able to overcome that endorsement and get a majority of Republican voters statewide?
Well, I'm working hard. I'm traveling all over the state trying to earn the votes and the trust of Wisconsinites to put me into office, to put me on the ticket with Tom Tiffany. The last time that a Republican won the endorsement at convention, won a competitive primary, and won a general election was actually back in 2010. So it's been a while since that has happened. So we're going to continue to work hard to see that that doesn't happen in our race. But the track record isn't so great when it comes to that endorsement actually translating into the person winning.
In fairness, though, isn't that a tad disingenuous? Because we had that you're talking about Scott Walker, right?
I'm talking about Ron Johnson, actually.
Oh, Johnson. Okay, I was going to say. So yeah, he got the endorsement. Walker got the endorsement too, right, in the same year. Oh, but he didn't. Okay, you're saying it was a competitive one. Okay. In 2022, there was the no endorsement because it was just such a vicious primary. And then, of course, you had Johnson as an incumbent. You had Walker as an incumbent. So we haven't really had all that many. So to say, well, there's not a great track record, I mean, it's...
Republicans did endorse, though, at the 22 convention in a race, and that endorsed candidate who is a nice guy, but he lost by over 30% in the primary.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Candidates for treasurer and secretary of state through the years that won the endorsement and then lost.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm just going for the big ticket ones because as much as I love the guys who are running for, and we love John Library, he's actually a fantastic guy, state treasurer and secretary of state, they don't have actually any real prescribed duties. And you know what, to be fair, neither does lieutenant governor, but what lieutenant governors do is actually focus on an issue and make it theirs. For example, Mandela Barnes, when he was lieutenant governor, made his specialized issue not paying his taxes. No, I'm kidding. That wasn't actually his. I don't even know what it was. Was it climate change? I don't even know what he did. What would be... He
was running for Senate.
Yeah, he was focused on... That's very good. That's actually very... Sarah Rodriguez, I have no idea what she has done in the, nearly 4 years she's been lieutenant. Honest to goodness, I have no idea what her issue was, what her focus was. Well, her focus was running for governor, right? What would be your focus as lieutenant governor? What are you going to, if you're elected, if you win this primary and God willing, you and Tom Tiffany are governor and lieutenant governor, what would be the issue that David Varnum focuses on?
Well, first, I want to focus on being bold on taxes. We need to be more competitive as a state in the Midwest and in our country on having lower taxes that keep our residents and our businesses here and help us recruit residents and businesses to our great state. I also stand for the sanctity of life. I'm a girl dad who wants to see men not in women's sports. We need to keep them out of the sports and locker rooms and bathrooms for women. I want to give parents a choice and a voice when it comes to education. We need to raise test score standards and expectations for our students as well. And we need to push against illegal immigration by making sure that we deport criminal illegal aliens from our state. And you've heard Tom Tiffany say over and over and over again, we need to ban sanctuary cities in Wisconsin.
Sure, but what would be your one thing? Like, if Fran Hong was running for lieutenant governor, her big thing would be, pushing to abolish the 4th of July. What would be like your issue? If you could focus on just one thing, like, hey, this is going to be what I'm doing for the state of Wisconsin.
It would be lowering taxes. We need to be more competitive. I live in the southwest corner near Illinois and Iowa, and we gain businesses and people from Illinois, but we're losing them to Iowa because we have Governor Evers standing in the way of common sense tax reform. And with a Governor Tom Tiffany and a Republican legislature, we can get that bold legislation done, and we can be better on keeping our taxes low.
All right, can I ask you one oddball question? If you were going to abolish one holiday, which would it be? No, I'm not going to make you answer that one. As we're talking about that, what I am going to ask you, last time you were on, I seem to recall you had a car with like 200-some thousand miles on it. Are you still driving that car?
No.
How many miles did you get?
We got over 200,000, and
Love
then I
it.
put 21,000 on another car, and then it broke, and we had to replace it. So I'm on my third car. But January 30th, we bought a new used car with 19,400 miles, and this past weekend, I went over 59,400 miles. So I've done 40,000 miles.
Love it.
Since the 30th of January.
Well, I'll tell you what, no one will accuse you of not working hard, David. Always appreciate you coming on the show. Where can people go to find out more about your campaign before the August 11th primary?
DavidVarnum.com, or if you're on Facebook, you can find me at David Varnum for Lieutenant Governor, or on X at DVarnum. And Varnum is spelled VARNAM, and V as in victory.
I love that. I was just going to say, V as in victory. Your radio advertising is working on me, sir. David Varnum, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. Always appreciate you coming on the program, sir. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Dan. Have a great day.
You too. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Back in just a second.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
43 southbound is heavy near Bender. A break before you're slow again, Capitol to the Marquette. And then on 4394 southbound, you're starting to get jammed up from the Plainfield curve to the Mitchell interchange with a crash block in the left lane. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Take 5 Oil Change. Don't let the oil light add drama. Head to Take 5 and save $15. Just drive in, stay in your car, and get right back to your day. Take 5, the stay in your car 10-minute oil change. Terms apply. Visit take5.com/audio for details.
Retirement planning doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. Tune in to the Retirement Clinic every Saturday morning at 10 and join Jeff and Aaron Kowal from Creative Planning as they dive into the latest retirement news, break down investment and planning strategies, and answer the questions you're already asking. The Retirement Clinic, every Saturday at 10 with Jeff and Aaron Kowal from Creative Planning. Clear and informative discussions about your retirement on News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm Eric Krolowitz from Good Health Saunas. Check out Good Health Saunas' massive display at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, August 6th through August 16th. See every model be set up, feel them, touch them, try them out, and compare to find the ideal sauna for you and the entire family. Attendees will receive huge discounts on our show display floor models. Come early, they always sell out. GoodHealthSaunas.com or 365 days a year at 2242 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha next to Home Depot.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law, here to talk about facts and myths about divorce. Do you think as long as you play nice, so will your spouse? That's a myth. Many divorces start that way, but before you know it, one disagreement unravels everything you previously thought was settled. Have you heard it's cheaper to get divorced without an attorney? That's a myth. It's not. The assets lost by not knowing what you are legally entitled to are much more costly than an attorney. Have you heard attorneys bill by the minute and will waste time so that they can charge you more? At Divergent Family Law, that's a myth. We offer free consultations for divorce and provide you with a flat quote for representation. You won't have to wonder what you'll get charged. The facts are you'll get your best possible outcome when you have an experienced attorney at your side. Our attorneys have seen it all. They know the laws and they know the judges. They'll make sure that you get your fair share or better. Contact us today at divergentfamilylaw.com.
You like your cabinets. They're in really good shape. The layout makes sense. The wood is sound, solid, and well made. Everything works. But there's a problem. You don't love your cabinets anymore. Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. If you're thinking about having your cabinets painted, even oak, Color Wheel is the company for you. We understand you want a new look, a mini makeover. You will love your kitchen again. Maybe change the countertops, install a backsplash, get new hardware. All of this goes with the expert cabinet painting we provide. And it's at a fraction of the cost of a full remodel. Color Wheel Painting does expert cabinet painting with an unbeatable 5-year warranty. We stand by our work, no questions asked. And yes, we paint ceilings, walls, trim, that 2-story foyer, even a room or two. So call Color Wheel, tap into our network of interior designers and industry specialists. Get that beautiful kitchen now. Done right on budget at prices you can afford. Call Color Wheel Painting today. ColorWheelPainting.com.
I'm Victor Harding for Warshevsky. Need to know what personal injury firm will get you maximum compensation?
ask around. Warshevsky is regularly referred to friends and family members of former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, often our adversaries. Refer Warshevsky because people with experience know we will achieve the maximum judgment or settlement possible. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Why do you love movies? Is it the emotion, the spectacle, the escapism? On Raiders of the Lost podcast, we explore cinema like no one else, including huge interviews with stars like Ryan Gosling on Project Hail Mary.
It was like the Jaws shark. Didn't always work, came with its own problems. That's what made it great. The heart of the movie is Rocky and Grace, and their friendship is hard-earned.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Raiders of the Lost podcast, and listen now.
From Wisconsin to the world and everywhere in between, the Mark Belling Podcast, my take on everything. Season 2 is underway. New episodes drop Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday on iHeart or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the MacIver News Minute.
In 1989, the Berlin Wall came crashing down. Behind it, shortages, secret police, and the shattered promise of equality. Germans were in no rush to cross over and experience socialism. The Soviet experiment collapsed under the weight of central planning, coercion, and economic ruin. And we know the examples of Cuba and Vietnam, of government control over private industries and land ownership. Americans need to keep our eyes wide open. Promises of fairness and prosperity ultimately collide with reality. The pattern never changes. Socialism reassigns ownership of the means of production from free people to the state. It sounds compassionate until the incentives vanish, shortages appear, and then liberty truly erodes. Wisconsin does not need another experiment. America doesn't need bigger government. Socialism has failed every time it's been tried, and history keeps the receipts. Let freedom prevail. For the MacIver Institute, I'm Annette Olson.
For more free market news, log on to MacIverInstitute.com.
So I am told we are not on the air. We are on the air. You know, we're struggling to be on the air. So people are. What I'm trying. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. If you're listening to us on the iHeartRadio app, listen to us on the iHeartRadio app. I get. It's way easier to just listen when you're in the car on the radio. I listen to the radio. If you're listening to us on our flagship station, News Talk 1130 WISN, we are. Didn't we get a new transmitter while I was gone? Allegedly, we got a new transmitter. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I have been trying to listen to Clay and Buck for the last couple of days. Folks, trust me, we are getting bombarded with texts and calls. We get as frustrated as you folks are. And I actually love my producer, Doug, is like, they're telling us we're off the air. I love the fact that so many people are so invested in this show and this radio station that you get ticked off when it's not on the air. Just please assume that as mad as you are that we're not on the air, we are like in a homicidal rage that we are not on the air. Because obviously, to make money, people need to hear the advertising. And to get ratings, people need to hear the programming that we put out. It's one of those things that we are trying desperately to fix, but it's apparently been an ongoing issue. We are aware. Nothing I can do. Well, actually, there is something I can do. Doug, unfortunately, we're going to have you climb the tower out back. I don't even know if it has anything to do with the tower. I just personally want to see you do it so I can laugh and throw things at you. Don't threaten me with a good time, he says. Okay, for $50,000, would you climb a radio tower? You would? Oh, God, you have no idea. Okay, with no safety equipment. Okay, he says, oh, no. Trick question, because you would be dead. The winds are so high up there. You could not pay me enough. And we actually do for tower maintenance. I am told that the rate is tens of thousands of dollars per client because it is insanely harrowing, dangerous work. I would not do it. I don't know. I'm a scaredy cat. What can I say? I'll fully admit it. But folks, we are aware that we have been struggling to be on the air for quite some time. Apparently, it was an issue while I was off last week while we were changing out the transmitter. But I guess meet the new transmitter, same as the old transmitter. No, I think there are just some bugs we've got to get out of this. Now I'm getting frantic texts from management. Shut up about the transmitter. One of my buddies from high school goes, "What the bleep?" Here we go. One of my other buddies from high school goes, "The entire WISN team has already been sent to Francesca Hong's gulag." Well, if we can break out, we will be back after this here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
Jan, southbound 4394, Howard to the Mitchell interchange, where you got a crash that's blocking the left lane. Starting to fill in a little more on 94 with Brewers traffic. Eastbound from the zoo to the stadium, westbound 25th to Hawley. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Habish & Rotier.
One law firm has recovered more million-dollar results than any other firm in Wisconsin. We have handled and won the largest cases in state history. Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Visit Habish.com for more information.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm, Screen and Door.
The only real estate agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here. When you listen to my show, you know I'm very cautious about the stock market, and I prefer bricks and mortar. I prefer real estate. I have the inside track on what's happening in Washington. So what does that mean for you? I'm pretty confident the best days of our economy will be ahead of us, and the real estate market is going to get busier and busier. Now, no matter the reason that you need to make your move, you need talent, you need tools to get your home sold and get on to your next chapter. If you're trying to sell your home and have been trying for months and you're tired of looking at the same for sale sign in your front yard, now is the time to make a friend in real estate that can help turn your challenge into a solution. Now, choose who I trust to create the most demand. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 five-star reviews, and then make your move today.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Bott. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Shop Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers on top of our low simplified price, and get more for your trade on a new Buick or GMC.
We are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest, take a test drive, and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive Fond du Lac and at HolidayGMCBuick.com.
It's worth the trip.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee Metro flooring industry, to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Jay Weber here with listener Martell's take on engine and transmission exchange. What an amazing shop. Very professional, nice, and honest. Yep. Lori had ETE put new brakes on her car and says, I'm happy and very grateful for their reputable work. Carly raves about ETE, even though she says, I had absolutely no work done. I spoke with Jeff and Vince at length trying to decide about engine repair or replacement. They both gave honest advice on how they'd handle the situation. She says, I do look forward to giving them business at some point. That's the sort of honesty and integrity you'll experience at Engine and Transmission Exchange, and why so many WISN listeners have become loyal to ETE. I promise, all of the work is supervised by ASC certified technicians. They'll only do what needs to be done, and they'll do it right. With locations on South 27th Street in Milwaukee and West Avenue in Waukesha, they have easy drop-off and pickup and will work around your busy schedule. Check out enginetrans.com. Enginetrans.com. It's Engine and Transmission Exchange.
Kessler's Diamonds. Kessler's Diamonds.
With just 2 Jay Weber podcasts a week, each is packed with brilliant analysis and irrepressible wit, and people are noticing. They're getting tons of downloads on the iHeart platform. Be sure to subscribe to the Jay Weber podcast on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Jay Weber Podcast is presented by Creative Planning, a comprehensive wealth management approach for all elements of your financial life. Your team awaits. Find the Jay Weber Podcast every Tuesday and Friday on the iHeart Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, this is too funny. We didn't have time to get the video, and we've only got about 2 minutes left in the show. David Crowley, Milwaukee County executive, and Francesca Hong's opponent in the gubernatorial race, says in an interview, I don't even know where this came from. It's from a guy by the name of Ken Klippenstein, and whatever. Crowley says it is a racist slur to call him a member of the establishment. To call him an establishment Dem is a racist slur. I wish I was making this up. I thought we had reached a level of self-parody that could not possibly be eclipsed in this Democrat primary. But apparently David Crowley was ready to say, hold my beer. To sort of put a bow on this show by ending where we started, does the victory that was far narrower than anticipated for the radical Islamist leftist Abdul El Sayed in the Michigan Senate primary portend good things for Crowley a week from yesterday? Probably not. I don't believe that there is much of a chance that Francesca Hong will lose. Will the primary be closer than the polling suggests? Yes, probably. But this is clearly Hong's to lose. We shall see, however. Out of time for today's show. Back tomorrow, 3:06 p.m. We will talk to you then here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.